What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the second episode of Necomanda Props and Cosplay. So, in the last episode, we checked out Xcoser's Green Arrow Season 5 suit, which I've got right here. Now, in that episode, I said that the next step would be to upgrade and modify the suit. So today, we're going to look at completely overhauling the colour of the suit, and by overhaul, I mean slather with black paint and wipe it off. But yeah, that's the plan. So we're going to darken up a lot of the colours in it just to make it that little bit more screen accurate and put some shading in all of the cracks that are on the suit. So to begin with, we'll get started with that. I'll see you in the next bit. Now that we're all gloved up, the next step we're going to be doing is just taking a small bit of water from a bowl of water that I have here and adding that to our palette. Now this is only just to water down the paint quite a bit, really. It's all it's going to be used for. I still prefer a little bit of thickness in my paint when I do this. It just kind of gives it a bit more control rather than a complete watery substance like a lot of people would do. To me, I just prefer a thicker paint. Right, so I'm going to get quite a bit of off the brush. So you've just got a decent amount on there. And then just start laying it onto the jacket. Seems crazy. It works so well. So I'm just going to lay it into the cracks. Now don't do it all at once, because otherwise you'll start to get sections that dry. And you don't really want that. That's not ideal. You want to at least maybe do one panel at a time is fine. So once you've got down your first layer of paint, grab a cloth, I'm just using an old bed sheet, and just dab off the excess. Except you want to leave the sections in the middle there. Now you can definitely wipe it down onto other areas, that's perfectly fine. Now, that might even be a bit thin still. So, I'm going to let that dry, because that will darken it up. That'll definitely give it a darker tone, for sure, but the cracks in the centre may need another coat with a thicker paint just to keep everything uniform. So I'm going to try that down here. Basically what I'm doing is I'm giving the paint a chance to stain the fabric. There's like no right method to this, it's kind of just a little bit of trial and error, really. And just taking off the excess. Now I find if I bring the excess down onto another panel, that way I'm not wasting too much paint either. I mean, it's, like I said, it's only cheap acrylic, so it doesn't really matter. But you can see, you might be able to see in here, now that's like black in there, which is the ideal look I'm going for here, is just to really darken everything up. So, next up I'm going to go in again with, again, thicker paint, and just get right in the cracks. Because we're wearing gloves, you can probably just wipe it off with your hand, the excess. Also, make sure you get around these little metal greeblies here. Basically, what you want to do is add paint to anywhere that dirt would build up. So pretend that Green Arrow's gone on a big mission and he's just been in a huge fight rolling around on the floor. So there's a bit of gunk build up in his suit. So imagine what that would look like in reality. Or if the suit, he hasn't had a new suit in a while, like he keeps using this one over and over and over again and no one gets around to cleaning it. Imagine what that would look like. You'd get grime in all the crevices of the suit, and it would really start to change the way it looks. It would just look dirty and gross, really. Which is kind of the effect I'm going for. Now, dabbing your brush kind of helps the bristles get round certain shapes. Sometimes. Only do that with a cheap brush, otherwise you might damage your bristles, which you don't want. Otherwise you can't use the brush again. So, we'll probably jump into like a time-lapsey thing now, if I can work out how to edit that, and I'll see you once I've done most of this panel. So a bit of time's passed and I've now done majority of the left side of the jacket. So you can already tell that there is a huge difference of the gradient here to here. This is so much darker and adds a lot more different texture to it. Because the way the paint grabs the leather-like texture, it kind of grabs in different spots and pulls in different areas. So it does kind of offer a two-tone texture. It's kind of got a green and a black in it. Some areas are stronger than others, but that's okay. Like I said, I kind of want to go for a more beat-up look. I don't want something super clean and shiny. I've never been a fan of clean, shiny suits. I always love a bit of grunge and dirt going into what I'm making. So that's pretty much where we're at so far. So now I'm going to do the rest of the suit on the front, and then we'll jump onto the back and the hood. Okay, so now that the front is now complete, I would move on to the back of the suit. Now the back of the suit only has a few deep lines in it, being these ones on the edges here, and up on the sides here. So they'll probably grab the most paint. With these ones on the back here, I'm probably going to have to put the paint in there manually, just so it grabs properly. So that's going to be probably the biggest challenge, but we'll work on that now. Yeah, and you just want to make sure you get it into all of the stitching. So, because the stitching adds an indent into the fabric, it kind of gives the paint a section to either pull or grab onto. Because the thread is made of like a softer, more pliable fabric, the paint will actually grab it and then stay that colour, compared to this which kind of lets the green bleed through a little bit. It can seem like a strange idea to start slathering like a $300 costume with paint. It does seem a bit ridiculous, but the outcome does look really good. It is kind of a step to go from buying a costume and then deciding, oh, I'm just going to basically destroy it. But overall, I reckon it's worth it. Like, practice on some old fabric first, make some old costumes, like costumes that are just throwaways really, and use those as a starting point. It's generally the best option. So, when we left off last time, there was, hi. Ow. Hey guys, so a little bit of a cut in here. So it's been pretty bad weather where I am at the moment, so that's kind of slowed down the process. So unfortunately I haven't actually got any footage of me weathering the pants. The process for weathering the pants was exactly the same as the jacket. Slather it in paint, wipe off the excess, clean up the areas you want more green with some methylated spirits. So a really easy process. Just thought I'd jump in here to let you know why there seems to be a chunk missing. But other than that, back to the video.